An in-depth look at volunteer workers from Pensacola, a specialty shop in this port city with consignments on their mind, and also a rock show that's going on in the National Museum of History. All this and more is coming right up, and I hope you'll stay tuned.
Providing entertainment for over 25 years, WALA-TV presents a tradition in Mobile, the Dot Moore Show. Once again, Dot Moore.
Thank you and welcome to the show, and today we'll hear all about volunteer workers at Lakeview Center in Pensacola with the Teen Line Coordinator and a volunteer. And our specialty shop is most interesting. We'll show you some things, talk about how it works for you and how it works for her, and all of these things coming right up. But right now, our feature fashion on location. Today, we're at the Mobile Convention Center on the riverfront, down on Water Street. With its many facets, the Convention Center serves the port city well, and during the Mardi Gras season, much of the activity takes place right here. Some of the balls are given here. Many tourists that visit our city are fascinated with this beautiful building, Mobile's Convention Center. Many levels here, many meetings, lots of conventions and visitors, all appertain to the progress of the city of Mobile. And our feature fashion today salutes the Mardi Gras season, and it could take you to the Queen's Luncheon, because that's the day that most of the ladies burst forth in light suits that say spring is here, in colors of yellow, black, and white, a white skirt and a colorful blouse and an underblouse that's pleated. If you're in the mood, why not add a big black floppy hat? It could take you to the luncheon and many other activities during Mardi Gras. And our feature fashion is courtesy of Holiday on Old Shell Road in Spring Hill. Well, a tradition shared by many Americans, of course, is returning Christmas gifts after the holiday gift giving is over. That is, those that are maybe the wrong color, the wrong size, or even broken. The American Bar Association has some very good suggestions for all to consider on this subject in this report.
'Twas the season of Christmas, and like yesteryear, presents are greeted with joy and with tears. And with the presents comes a custom unspoken, returning gifts that don't fit, and those that are broken.
The watch band part had cracked open, and when I went back to the store to bring it back, it was like a hassle. It really was a hassle.
While some stores will take items back and return your money, no questions asked, others are not so friendly. But there are several protections and remedies for consumers facing holiday return hassles. The first is common sense.
Save your receipts, save your original box, and take back the product as soon as you can to the location that you purchased it from. Ask for either a replacement or for your money back.
But if that doesn't work, there are other protections according to the American Bar Association. Stores must give you a cash refund unless posted otherwise. You're also better protected if you buy merchandise on a major credit card.
Both federal law and both Visa and MasterCard regulations do provide much more extended periods where you can charge back and make a complaint against the store for a defective product. And oftentimes that will give you much greater protection than paying with cash or a check.
Many gifts may be covered by the manufacturer's written warranty, so don't give up if a retailer won't stand behind the product.
I rarely actually use the warranty, but it's something that you still look at. I mean, obviously, you're more inclined to buy something with a 10-year warranty than with a 1-year warranty.
But there is a difference between a limited and full warranty, so read the terms and follow directions to return the product.
The critical issue in evaluating any warranty is to determine how long the warranty is in effect. Oftentimes, warranties for personal products are in effect for a very short period of time, 90 days, for example. The other question is how much you are responsible for covering as far as your out-of-pocket costs in the event there is a defect with the product.
And even if there is no warranty, there is an implied warranty that the product will do what it's supposed to do. All these protections to make sure you don't find yourself skating on thin ice. Wishing you many happy returns, this is Lee Miller reporting.
Well, you could call it a tribute to the Rolling Stones, because today you can see all sorts of rock shows at the Smithsonian Institute of Natural History. Stacy Kahn compiled this report.
The Smithsonian has turned to stone. Its newest gallery is dedicated to the science of geology and how we take for granted everyday products made from rocks. It's educational for kids and an eye-opener for grown-ups.
Most people don't realize the American public uses over 2 billion tons of stone a year.
At the core of the Rocks Gallery is a display called Rocks Build Cities, an interactive display that underlines the importance of stone and construction aggregates by taking a closer look at the Washington Mall and the buildings that are the very foundation of the U.S.
All through here are real rocks and real stones that were used in real applications, including the National Capitol.
The Rocks Gallery, a gift of the National Stone Association, is the finishing touch to the $16 million facelift to the Hall of Geology, Gems, and Minerals, which opened to the public late last year. It's just a stone's throw from the Hope Diamond, the most visited object at any museum anywhere in the world. Museum officials expect 4.5 million people to visit the hall every year.
They come here because they want to see something that they've heard about. It's the Hope Diamond of the National Gem Collection. But we want them to go away saying, wow, I didn't know that. And the wow takes place in a place like the Rocks Gallery.
By next spring, schools across the country should be able to take an electronic field trip to the gallery through the internet. This is Stacy Kahn reporting.
Welcome back. Our first guests are here from Pensacola to inform us of the need for volunteers for crisis lines for the Lakeview Center in Pensacola. That's a Baptist health care affair, and we would like to welcome both of them. On my immediate right here is Mac Moore, no relation, who is teen coordinator, Teen Line, and next to him is a volunteer from Pensacola, Haley Seabrook. We want to welcome both of you. I was very, very interested in the material that you sent from Pensacola. Number one, you have a great need for volunteers, do you, Mac?
Yes, Dot, and thanks for the opportunity to allow us to come on and inform the public of that and to talk briefly about our program. We actually have 3 separate crisis lines at Lakeview. We have the Adult Helpline, the Teen Line, and the Rape Crisis Center line. Again, each is a component of Lakeview Center Incorporated in Pensacola. Each line also functions to provide crisis intervention and suicide prevention via telephone counseling service.
Let me ask you this. During the holiday season, do the calls escalate?
That's interesting, and though I haven't collected any actual data, speaking strictly experientially, I can't say that I've noted a dramatic increase in the sheer volume of calls. However, the degree to which the calls seem to intensify or be of a high-end crisis-oriented nature does seem to escalate some, and I would ask your viewing audience to be mindful that you know, I'm not a doctor or a psychological pundit, so you know, me trying to justify or come up with reasoning for this occurrence would be sheer supposition, but still it does seem to happen, and we do need more volunteers on these lines.
Well, I think there has always been the thought that the holidays at times depresses some and elates others.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you, what did interest me was that you tell me that lots of advantages to being a volunteer, and one is to accrue some credits towards a scholarship. Talk to me about that.
Yes, ma'am, I'd be happy to. Actually, I have one of our Teen Line volunteers here today, Miss Haley Seabrook, and I think she's doing something very similar to that.
Okay, Haley, you want to talk to me about that?
The reason I started volunteering for Teen Line was because I go to Pensacola High and I'm in a health academy, and one of the requirements is that you do a certain number of hours, 200 volunteer hours for the program, and that's one of the requirements that you have. And so with that, you get the Florida issues out different scholarships called Gold Seal scholarships, different scholarships in that matter. And one of the requirements of some of those scholarships is that you have volunteer hours. And so what different requirements, like certain number of maths and sciences, one of the requirements are for scholarship, for volunteer hours. And so And also, as you go looking for scholarships, you find many scholarships want you to do volunteer hours. So I picked Lakeview because I love helping people. So decided to do the volunteer hours here.
Well, of course, you went through classes.
Yes.
And now, speaking of classes, we're going to put up on the screen for you, as we talk, the schedule of training classes that will take place and the dates and the times at Lakeview. You tell me there are other advantages, of course.
To volunteerism at Lakeview, yes, Dot, there are. For persons that we have in the community that may be seeking employment or maybe they're in college or even working on their graduate degree, for someone who will come to Lakeview and accrue 100 volunteer hours, they will be given what is referred to as in-house consideration, which basically there are several advantages that go along with that when it comes to putting in an application on an upcoming job opportunity. So that's just another one of the advantages to volunteerism.
And then, Haley, I imagine it's a great feeling to be able to stabilize someone on the phone who is very desperate, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can't even put into words the feeling that you have just knowing that you helped someone. Because, I mean, there's a lot of people with a lot of problems, and it kind of humbles you to know that you don't have it as bad as you think. And when you have that person say, thank you, I don't know what I would have did without you, I mean, that makes you feel real well.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, the most important thing is to hold them on the line, I guess.
Right. To hold them on the line, get them to talk it out, make sure the problem is stopped right there if that's possible, or make them find other ways that they can help their problem, give them referrals to other people and stuff, so they can go back more into that problem, get counseling or whatever. So, stuff like that.
How long have you been teen coordinator, and what does that mean?
Okay, I'm going into my second year, not quite 2 years now, as a teen line coordinator at Lakeview. And I guess some of my job responsibilities to coordinate the training and to assist in the training of our teen line volunteers and helpline volunteers as well, and to go into the community and lecture on stress, depression, crisis intervention counseling, suicide prevention in our schools and other community events.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to let you know that I've talked a lot about crisis intervention and suicide prevention, but before I got off the air, I'd like to stress that someone doesn't have to be in crisis to fund one of our services. They can use this as a sounding board.
I'm sorry to tell you. But anyway, I appreciate you coming, and I certainly hope you hear from this interview, and I'm sure you will. And the telephone number to call if you're interested in being a volunteer will be up on the screen right now as we say goodbye. Thank you so much for coming, Haley.
So
Keep up the
grateful
good
for the
work.
opportunity.
And also Mac, too.
Thank you.
Okay? We'll be back after this. Well, that old cliche, everything old is new again, certainly has proven to be true for my next guest because she has opened a unique consignment shop. Say hello to Kathy Breland. Kathy, I'm very happy you could come. I want to ask you something. How did you happen to get the idea of opening your shop on consignment basis?
Well, I'm constantly redecorating my home, and I get tired of the things that I have, and you try to put them out at a yard sale, and you don't usually get very much for what you want at a yard sale.
True.
And my sister and I, we were going to Atlanta to visit my nieces a lot, and we saw a lot of consignment shops up there for the home. And we went in some of them, and they had beautiful things at great prices, and so we just said, well, why not try one in Mobile?
Well, I'm told that you started out with things from your own home when
Correct.
you really began.
Correct.
Yes.
My family and my own personal things.
Oh, that's
and,
very
and some of my friends.
Okay, we need to introduce Sally to the public because Sally greets everyone that comes to your specialty shop. And this, of course, is Sally. Now, how did you come by her?
One of my consigners, Samantha Mesh, brought her in and wanted to put her on consignment. And she said, Kathy, just put whatever you want on her. And I just fell in love with her. And I said, well, Sam, I really would just like to keep her here at the store. And she said, well, do whatever you want. And my front of my store is kind of a country cottage style. And so I said, well, I'm going to put her out front. Well, I started having so many people wanting to buy her that I had to price her up really high so nobody would.
But
and then I ended up buying her.
She definitely is not for sale.
No.
Okay, let's talk about how this consignment thing works financially. Who gets what? The person who brings it in and you.
Right.
How do you do that?
A customer comes in to put things on consignment, and I price the items. I give them an inventory sheet listing their item and how much I am requesting to sell them for. And when the item is sold, they receive 50% of the selling price, and I retain 50%.
Oh, that's wonderful, and I understand that you hand write your receipts. You do not like computers.
Right. I don't care anything about the computer world, I guess because I just don't know that much about it. But I try to keep things more personal. I file things by the customer's first name. That way I will learn their first name.
Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, let's talk about a few of the things. Right in front of Sally, there's an interesting item. Tell me about that.
This is a little talking telephone dog that one of my consigners brought in. And all of my items have to be in working condition for them to be able to be sold. And then, of course, I've got your basic toaster, which is a great gift for young people that are just moving out on their own for the first time.
Sure.
And they don't have a lot of money.
For instance, how much would the telephone be?
$12 for the telephone,
okay.
and then like $5 for the toaster.
And this is?
This is one of my best-selling items. This is a steamer for your vegetables, and anybody that's real conscious on their weight and everything, this is a good selling item. And then this item only sells for $10.50, and again, it's in working condition and very clean.
So somebody just stopped needing it and brought it in.
Exactly
okay.
right.
This, I love, this big fish. Yeah.
Now that is a very nice piece also. It is signed, and it's a Hyman Moore collector piece. And it has, you know, a little description about the piece, and it's hand painted.
Well, it's a beautiful piece. It's a conversation
So I
piece.
get very nice things also that will make nice gifts.
Yes. Now you deal entirely with things for the home.
Correct.
And including furniture.
Oh yes,
But no clothes.
No clothes, but I have sofas, love seats, recliners, tables and chairs.
Well, I'm told that your business escalated the first 6 months from 8 clients to 78.
Yes, I have been blessed.
Ooh, that proves that people do get tired of things that still are very usable.
They do, and they don't want to deal with the yard sales or having somebody come through the newspaper. They would rather bring it to me, let me handle it, and then they get a check.
Yes.
Something to look forward to.
Well, it helps everybody. And then, of course, this is a quilt that someone just...
Yes, and that is a 125-year-old double wedding ring quilt.
Oh,
very, very pretty. Yes, that's an antique.
Okay, and this?
A beautiful crystal lamp. That's real pretty. And then I've got your blue willow, antique blue willow plate. And then the 50th anniversary plate, which would make a wonderful gift for a 50th wedding anniversary. So I do have gift items.
Now, you tell me that in January, is it, you're going to start using this card. Tell me about it.
That's a frequent buyer card. Every time you come into my shop and you buy $15 or more, you get a stamp. And once you get the card filled up, then you receive 20% off on your total order.
Isn't that something?
It's another good way to
It really
shop.
is, but I say the world is full of telephones and cards of some kind, but a frequent buyer card, I think, is a new idea.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, indeed. And then you have dishes that are very decorative, and some people love to mount them, of course, into a little stand in the dining area. Or
very popular.
Kathy, we're going to pop your telephone number up as I bid you goodbye for your specialty shop and on consignment, and I thank you so much for sharing all this with us. It is interesting that one person's trash becomes some other person's treasure.
That's exactly right, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
My pleasure, because it's a useful shop. Okay, we'll be back after this. A new study reveals that business executives attend as many as 60 meetings a month. And now there are plans afoot to make those productive meetings all total, if possible, as we hear in this report from Brian Burns.
Today's business travelers will tell you there are two problems with many meetings, getting there and getting back. late nights, and then early in the morning it's this continued drain, and as the week goes on you get tired.
You miss out on the kids' functions at school.
Business travel in my life is fatiguing.
Fortunately for business professionals like Lisa Wolf, companies are now conducting many of their meetings electronically. Wolf is a public relations executive who needs to meet with associates and clients, but she's also concerned about finding quality time for her family.
Well, by teleconferencing, I'm able to conduct business in a very efficient and effective manner. My family is still close by, and it just really enables me to strike a balance in my life.
The growth of teleconferencing comes as no surprise to J. Fred McLemore, professor of management at the University of Illinois at Chicago.
I think it's great.
The one budget item that is probably uncontrollable is the cost of meetings. And somebody's going to have to get their arms around that. And I personally think that there's a great opportunity for people to do teleconferencing.
According to Tim Reedy of MCI WorldCom Conferencing, productivity goes up and costs go down when meetings are held electronically.
The average cost of a meeting with 5 participants, all traveling from out of town to meet, was about $5,000. That same meeting could be held via video conference for about $1,700, or just by a plain old audio conference for about $600 or $700.
Business communication experts say face-to-face meetings are best for building rapport. But once participants know one another, teleconferencing can help them save time and money, be more productive, and get their lives back in balance. This is Brian Burns reporting.
And that does it for us this week. Thank you so much for joining us. We'd like to thank our guests. And until we see you next week, I hope you'll stay happy.